What's going on, everybody? Big D coming back at you with another great show. Back from PCA, back from a lot of smoking, a lot of great cigars. I hope the interviews that Brandy and I have been putting out, man, it's a lot of hard work. And I actually made her do a lot of the work because she had to, had to make sure. But before we get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me over on follow me here. And, please. I'm all lost. I take a week off from doing shows and I don't know. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, please. The likes and your comments, they help the analytics get the video out there to more people. And, of course, pinned in the comment section, as well as in the description, I have my link tree. Go click on it. Go support advertiser sponsors and preferred retail partners. They help continue to keep all the programming going on the show that you know and love, and your support goes a long way. Whether you're looking for accessories, whether you're looking for sticks, I got you covered. Make sure you use the exclusive available to my viewers out there to save yourself some. Without further ado, let's bring on the
diligence to become the best boutique cigar company, and we have fantastic cigars and even better service. So very glad to be here, and thank you for. And I know it's probably you're in need of some rest after the PCA, so we're grateful to have you on tonight.
Well, your brand's been blowing up. It really kind of came out of the blow up really kind of came. I was like, man, I got to get this guy on. I'm seeing him out there. I'm seeing his brand out there. It's getting out. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I got to make one of those executive decisions. Now, you know what? Even though I wanted to take the week off, I got to have him on.
We're honored. Absolutely honored. Thank you for doing that. So be here.
What's up, Bryson? Good to see you.
Is that my man Bryson?
Bryson
Fowler?
Yes, it is.
Oh boy, I got the big guns on tonight. Boy, don't add there just a little bit.
We got Tony checking in, Brett checking in. I know. I'm always honored when a big name like Bryson decides he wants to show up and give my a little love. I feel honored by that.
He's the kingpin. So
he is the kingpin.
Cigar royalty. We're amongst the cigar royalty.
And as he said, the shipwreck monkey is a game changer, and I cannot agree more. Right now, it's in my top 3 for 2026.
Wow!
So,
wow! I got the shipwreck going myself. I'm smoking one, and it's really the brainchild of Miguel Pinto, who at MGE Factory, who makes our cigars. Miguel is he's like the god of cigar making. He's just a humble guy, terrific guy. He makes cigars for El Mago, several other brands as well. And I'm very fortunate. And there goes that screen.
Let's see.
I
see you. Yeah,
I don't see you. I lost the screen.
No.
Anyways, but Miguel's the brainchild of the cigars, and I come to Miguel with what I'm looking for, and Miguel's the one who actually gets to put it together. So,
well, I'm smoking your Connecticut tonight.
Oh, let me just do this over real quick. I'm coming back. There we go. I love our Connecticut. Again, I'm partial. These are our cigars, but it's really got a lot of flavor for a Connecticut, I think. And I think that's our original launch cigar was the Jungle Land series. So we had that in Habano, Connecticut, and Maduro wrappers. So I've had a few people tell me even the Connecticut to them is, I've heard from someone say it's one of the best Connecticut's they've ever smoked. So I'll wait to hear what
it is.
Say. It is a good cigar.
First two puffs on the Connecticut here, and it's very, very peppery, very bready, is what I noticed. It's like that that it's not like it's got that not quite sourdough, but similar that peppery bread that's almost sourdough like is what it's like in my mouth.
Lucky you can break down flavors. I've always had a hard time breaking down flavors. That's why I love some of the ambassadors for our company, like Sean Turner. He's got great ability to break down flavors. And for me, it's not been about like I taste this and I specifically, but overall how it smokes, what I'm tasting generally, quality of construction, draw. Those are all like huge factors to me.
Sure, I get it. Very fresh, like fresh cut cedar. I put it at a solid, the flavor on that, where it's hitting solid medium plus full.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was designed to be medium. So the original launch, like I said. So when I decided to get in the cigar business and I searched diligently to make our product, I wanted something, number one, that was going to be a medium to medium full, not overly strong, not overly complex, and that had good construction. And it really takes any cigar company's probably willing to make cigars for you if you show up ready to purchase. But getting someone who will do it, what you want, and get exactly what you want is a whole nother story.
Did you have an input on the blending on this, or did you just kind of go give them an idea of what you were looking for and let them kind of do their thing with it?
Yeah, more so. Look, what I'm looking for, and smoking several different factory blends and putting together, looking for, let's say you taste a factory blend and you go and you say, okay, it's too strong, so they can back off on the Ligero, they can adjust the blend that way. But depending on which cigar it is, it's more a combination of both. My input, but I'm not a master blender. You know what I mean? And talk to Miguel about what I'm looking for, and let Miguel come up with options, have my input in adjusting what I want from there.
Okay.
So it's important.
And I love us too. So
yeah, I do too. And that was one of the things that I personally loved in cigars. So I wanted that first one to be in a box press. It's actually round, but I'm probably going to switch it to box press in the near future because I just like the way
what the box press provides for a bit more airflow. So it changes that chemical composition and the flavor. So you tend to get a more robust flavor profile than you do out of your standard Toro and around, and you smoke, you tend to find that the box with you get with the round cigar, just because it allows for more airflow to come through as your so right. As you get that. So if you're somebody who's really more of a medium full or full smoker out there, the box press will provide that on a cigar that may be more of a medium or a medium mild side of things. When we bump that up just enough.
Right. And again, I mean, I think early on the goal of this vision and started everything was like, how close can I get to creating something that's like a Padron until the end of the cigar, it stays consistent and you have the same flavor profile. Sorry, my on me. I have to just adjust that a little bit. Yeah, so I can get the same profile throughout the cigar. I've never been a fan of overly, so that's what we were looking for. I'm just going to do a little modify. Go better. It's a good goal, right, to try and create cigars like Padron.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Tony here, the Distinguished Ape is his favorite Habano and Candela cigars.
Well, the thing with he likes the Candela, the Distinguished Ape, is actually got tobacco from Ometepe in it. So it's got Jalapa, Condega, and Ometepe tobacco. And it's a tricky cigar. It's definitely a niche cigar. But people, I have to been crazy to because not really a big seller, like I said, as a niche cigar, but it acts so.
Let's see, Keith. Sorry, I'm late. What I miss? Oh, Keith, you missed so much. You
Mhm.
missed so much in the 10 minutes that we've been going here.
I'm going to try to do this a little so I can. There we go. Yeah, Keith's a great guy. I've been friends with Keith since the beginning of this whole thing, and Keith's an author and has, 2 different books out, which is fabulous. So
Yeah, you missed a whole lot, Keith. Hyman kind of went over the brand a little bit, and then blending process just a bit, and then I went on a little bit of a tangent on why box press is better. Other than that, that's about all you missed. A whole lot.
And I could have done the shipwreck and box press too, but this one I went with the parejo, the round, So we'll see.
I'd hate to do that, and then it just kind of it changes that whole dynamic of that.
It does smell good because I have tried it in box press. So
Okay.
the process, yeah.
All right. Well,
that's the fun thing about cigar brand owner. So it's, you get to try them in different vitolas as well. So, a Corona is very differently than a Gordo does. And not necessarily the Gordo, but I sell a ton of them. And that's my Funky Monkey. That's our 6x60. And, but for me, I prefer a thinner gauge and a box press if I have my choice.
You could do that like a, type cigar on that. It's just like, hey, do 1,000 or be like it's a limited run, and when they're sold out until like next year.
Yeah. And I think what I would do is the way I tried it was, I think, in a 6x54 or 52, and it was good. It was without a doubt fantastic, but I would love to try it in like a 6 or 5.5 by 40 ring gauge and see how the tobacco tastes that way. A little more concentrated.
Extreme given issues. Sorry about that. I got no control over that.
Yeah.
I have some days Facebook works better than YouTube, and then some days I can't even get the stream won't even load up for me. So I apologize. But you get to watch the same show over here, and you get to see it sooner.
So, well, I'm out of their night to tune in and join us. And, I'm very passionate by trade and a pilot on private jets. And years ago, the smell of tobacco from cigars, and with traveling so much, I visit lounges everywhere I go and talk to patrons there, and more so, I like to talk to the lounge owners, and learn about the industry that way. And that's where this passion started for cigars and tobacco.
Sure. I started smoking the day I turned 18 because I was influenced by all the cool good guys and bad guys in television and movies.
So you actually waited until you were 18?
I did. I skipped school the day I turned 18, and I drove 25 miles to Santa Fe, New Mexico to the cigar shop.
Oh, wow.
And I walked into the shop and I said, I just turned 18 today. I don't know anything about cigars. I have no clue. And so the shop owner, the owner's son, and some guy in the lounge, they took me into the humidor and they picked out 3 cigars for me. And I said, and so I got it. I went up to pay, and with me, and I go, is this enough? Because I thought this was like some big, huge luxury item.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, he goes, don't worry about it. He goes, if you like it, you'll be back. And he was right. And so I lit up the first one, and to throw out the 3 cigars they picked out for me was a Padron Natural 2.
Oh, wow.
Padron Natural 2000,
Mm-hmm.
Camacho, Connecticut, and that was when Camacho was still owned by Christian,
Mm-hmm.
and Oliva Series G Cameroon.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's a good start. Actually, some pretty bold cigars for your first three. I actually love when you go into a lounge and they're actually really knowledgeable, and because most people really don't know a lot about cigars, and because there is so much more to it than just grabbing a stick and lighting it up. So that communication with that first person who basically takes them and shows them the humidor and shows them cigars, that's their first line of education.
Yeah, I I go, yeah, I remember that. And I remember I smoked the Padron first. Was the first one I lit it up in
Right.
the shop, and 2 puffs in, and I looked at the owner of the shop and I said, I think this is going to become a problem.
Here you are.
And here I am
Look at you
25 years
now.
later. Yeah, 25 years later, look at where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think this is a good habit for me personally. I mean, what it gives you in stress relief and release of anxiety and things well outweighs any downsides to it. So,
Well, my bank account would differ with you on
uh,
that one.
I feel you. So, yeah.
My bank account would say
Well, that's why we want you smoking Grouchy Monkeys, because we have the best price point in the industry. I'm proud of our price point. So, right around the $10 mark, which still is really pricey if you're smoking, any cigars, or at $8, $10, if you're smoking 3, 4, 5 a day, you definitely need to be getting samples. So,
I know this to be a fact since I've become into the position of where I'm at now. If I smoked 5 cigars a day every day for the next 50 years, I would not run out of cigars that I have in my house.
okay, that's a good thing. We all need to come to your house. So,
uh,
a very well stocked humidor, huh?
I have 12 15-gallon Tupperdoors.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I could have retired on what I've spent in the last 25 years in
Right.
cigars.
Yeah. But I kind of wanted something to do. Like I look back at what was my motivation for doing it. And, I've been in aviation for so long. I've reached like the pinnacle of my career. I'm 60, going to be 61 in June. And I wanted something I could do in my retirement. My personality type has to have something to do. I can't just retire and play golf, nor can I financially either, unfortunately for me. But I wanted something to do in the future that I could roll into retirement and work at full time. And this is what I love. So, I just continue to learn, continue to work on producing good cigars and see where it takes us.
Oh, I already know I'm going to be that guy that is when I retire from Coke. I already know I'm going to be that guy that has to go get another job. There ain't no way, because I don't know what relax is. Like,
Right.
what is that? I'm just so used to, for almost the last 20 years, getting up every day and going to work, manual labor grunt. There's just no, there's just no way that I know I won't be able to relax. Like when I was off work, when I had my shoulder rebuilt in 2020, I built this lounge with one arm because I couldn't just sit on the couch and chill and relax. I was like, I have to have something to do. So I put in insulation. I went and bought drywall. I drywalled all this with one arm. I'm climbing up on a ladder with one arm with drywall on the other. I'm using my
Mhm.
head to hold the drywall in place while I tack it in. It's like I
Your
had to do something. I
determination.
was going stir crazy. I was like,
Yeah.
and that was like, and I was going stir crazy after 3 days. I'm like, I got to do something. I can't just hang around. I can't. I got to do
Yeah.
it. I got to get out.
That's your personality type. And this is the perfect industry. If you think about it, we're talking about science, we're talking about art, we're talking about, the differences between all the different companies have their own stories. Um, it's remarkable. I just spend a lot of time on YouTube watching documentaries about cigar and the production of tobacco. Okay, so far so good. Have you tried a retrohale yet?
Yes, the retro was
Okay.
fantastic in this.
Mhm.
Um, peppery with a bit of sweetness to it.
It's a good Connecticut.
It is
definitely is.
fantastic. It is
So
fantastic. I like that it is a, it is a medium. It's a medium plus, medium full. I like
mhm,
that in a Connecticut. I like a
yeah,
Connecticut that has a punch to it. I
yeah,
nothing against people who like to have a milder cigar, you know, in that. But man, I like my Connecticut's to come out and punch me in the face. That's what I
yeah.
like.
I won't say bad things about Perdomo, for instance, but like the Champagne, for instance, just lacks to me. That cigar, and then some of his other cigars knock me off my feet. Get me seeing stars like the
It
20th
is like that.
anniversary.
So my buddy Alan, who owns Family by Loyalty, his brand new drop that he has, the Echo, his Connecticut. And I tell people, because people ask me about it, I said, his Connecticut, I go, imagine the Perdomo 10th anniversary champagne, but
Mhm.
it's full bodied. That's what that cigar is. It's like how the champagne should be.
I think it lacks. It just
It,
lacks strength and a little bit of
yeah, of
flavor for
course.
me.
It, it's just a mild cigar, has good flavors to it.
Mhm.
It's just I like that punch, you know. And
Yeah,
if you're not going to give me a punch on my palate, then you better give me a punch in the retro.
right,
I need that somewhere.
right. Well, I think the shipwreck, what I'm smoking, definitely has a little bit of a punch to it. Um, I find it to be our strongest cigar. I don't know if strongest is the correct really description. Maybe it's definitely our most complex. With the creation of what's inside and filler and binder and wrapper. So yeah, and then you know that's you were talking about that and producing great cigars is a big fear, and being a boutique brand is like whatever's coming next. Are people going to love it or not? So um,
Yeah.
that's a valid fear. We're have our first flavored cigar coming out in a few months, and that's called Coco Mono, and it's a cigar made with real cocoa from Nicaragua. So very interesting, and we're not trying to go gimmick. It's actually a good cigar again. So, and I know it is. Everybody who smoked it thus far says it is, but getting it out there and seeing what the consumers think overall is involves a little bit of fear. You know what I mean? Because we're doing so good, and I'm really dedicated to producing amazing cigars. So, I don't want to put anything out that's just like, oh, well, that was average. We don't do average. We don't have the luxury of doing average.
I want to touch on something. I'm going to change gears just a
Sure.
smidgen here based upon what Chris put on here because he said he's heard good reviews about the cigar. And I want to touch on that because you've gotten some of the big media out there to actually smoke and do review on this, and you got phenomenal ratings, which it's hard to do to get a lot of those guys in the bigger media spectrum to want to review a boutique cigar, but to get them to review it and then to throw down a phenomenal grade as well. That's got to make you feel good.
It absolutely. I mean, there's nothing like it. And my approach has always been, how can I explain my approach? My approach has been very subtle with them and not pushing, not asking. Send them cigars, let them smoke them, let them tell you what they think. You know what I mean? To start and, put the cigars in their hands and see what they think. But it's absolutely, and I mean, it validates all the work you do. And when I tell you, for those who are interested in owning a boutique cigar brand, there is a tremendous amount of work involved with it.
Yeah.
When I'm relaxing, and watching TV or whatever, I'm working on boxes or bands. I even do some of my own banding, um, and it's just always working, and I enjoy it. But you have to understand there is a big investment involved into it, and the time. So if it's not 110% what you want to do, you may want to reconsider.
It's out there, and I read Boston Jimmy's review, and again, if anybody, if there's anybody in that big media spectrum whose opinion and palate I trust, that's Boston Jimmy. Like if he puts his stamp of approval on something and I haven't smoked it yet, I will go and buy it. Yeah. Just because he did it. And him and I on the 2 cigars that he reviewed and graded for you, him and I were pretty close in our grade that we gave you. We were, I mean it. So I so that right there, anytime that my grade's almost right on with Boston Jimmy, I'm like, yeah, maybe I do know what I'm doing.
You do know what you're doing, for sure. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. And that was really cool because he had just done the 2 reviews. And we did our first cigar event was the Orlando Boutique Cigar Festival. And we're in Miami, so we just drove up there, and I did something really smart. I brought these fold-out chairs and couches, and it turned out that we had our booth, and there was Boston Jimmy and the guys, other podcasters sitting there, great bunch of guys, and everyone was kind of hanging out. 1, because I had good cigars, but 2, because I also had great seats. So, I mean, think about smoking cigars. You want to sit down, and really, nobody had any chairs. So now I've given out my secret. There's the idea for doing events. Set up some chairs, and people sit down and smoke.
Yeah, Brent's confused by the fact that you just don't sit around when you're all day smoking cigars when you're bored.
No, I do. I can smoke half and then go back out on my balcony and relight it. But I'm like you, Daniel. I'm like, forget it. I just don't stop moving, man. I don't know what's the matter with me. Like, I could use some relaxation, but this is a grind, you know what I mean? And it's the hustle is fun. You either have that personality for it or you don't. You know what I mean? You got to be go. I mean, I'm talking to so many different people during a day about business. I'm trying to get my hands on some Indonesian tobacco now because I've tasted some Indonesian cigars and fascinated by it. So I'm out there talking to people on the other side of the world, trying to get some Indonesian tobacco. Maybe get Miguel something interesting to create for me.
Yeah.
I saw someone talked about Lee, and that
was cigar pop here. Yeah, he said he put it in Lee's hands, and he had no expectation for it. But after he smoked it and did his review, it changed his mind completely, and now it's in the running for his cigar of the year.
Yeah, I'd be blown away if I got cigar of the year with someone anyone anyways, but especially them.
I could tell you the Shipwreck Monkey right now is in my top 3 for the year. Of everything that I have smoked to date. Wow. Right now it's top 3. And so, that more, unless something major happens out there, and as busy as I am, it's highly unlikely it's going to fall out of the top 10.
Okay, so I gotta send you some more tomorrow. I gotta try and influence a little bit,
I gotta smoke a minimum of 5 in order to qualify, because you can't just smoke a cigar once and go, it's my cigar. No, and I like to spread them out. And then I got my list, and my list starts running. So when I get into November, I start cigars that are on my list. I restart re-smoking them again, just to verify that I like where things are at, right. And I start going through, and I'm like, okay, I really like this cigar. How many times I've only smoked it 3 times? Okay, so in the next 6 weeks, I gotta get this cigar in 2 more times. Right. I really think this cigar is a top 10 worthy stick. So then I just start, I start going. So if you look at my posts, when you get into November and December, you start seeing the cigar pop up multiple times within my cigar of the day, because I'm trying to get that cigar in for the top 10.
Right. I think you're 100% valid. I don't think you can judge a cigar by one or two. I think it takes quite a few more. And going back to the blending process too, you wind up dizzy when you blend cigars because once you break it down and find what you want, now you need to smoke 5 to 10 of them and see what's your consistency in the 7 cigars you smoke. What's the
Of
draw
course.
like? You know what I mean? And then you like it. I don't think you really determine. You'll like it maybe on one cigar, but to really judge it, you really do need a few. You need several more than just a few.
Well, the one thing that I realize is that I'll give a cigar 3 chances, and whether it's for me or not. Maybe I just got a bad one. Maybe something happened. It wasn't smokable. It fell apart. It's a hand rolled product. I get that. But
Right.
if I have an issue with a cigar after smoking 3 of them, then I know, okay, there's issues with the manufacturing on this. It's not for me. Same thing with the flavor profile. I
Right.
know what I like in a cigar, but where I sit in what I do on the media side, I can't have a bias and just smoke everything that I like that I know would be in my wheelhouse. I smoke everything.
Right.
So even though the flavor profiling's not for me, I take that out and I just judge the cigar based on how it is.
Right.
You know, so when it gets to that point on there, I'll give a cigar 3 shots, and if I just don't like it after the flavoring after 3 smokes on it, then I just like, yeah, it's just not for me. Doesn't mean it's a bad cigar. It's just
Right.
not for me. So, and since I have the viewers out there started asking in the daily posts for when the cigar of the day for ratings on there, and a lot of the cigars in there on the ratings are cigars that it's just not for me.
Right.
They're not my flavor profile, but I have to judge the cigar based upon the overall on there.
Right.
Now, you know, though, now it'll score lower for me on the flavor profile,
Right.
but when you start adding in everything else on there, that's just a very small part of the overall experience of the cigar.
That's challenging. That is absolutely challenging because you kind of to be able to rate it, you know what I mean, and review it, and it not be your flavor profile. It means right off the bat, it's not something. At least if it's something you like and you'd go to me, it seems like easier. You know what I mean? But that's got to be challenging for sure.
It was when I started, and I took Cigar Aficionados and Half Wheels rating system, and I went over it. And now for both of their rating scales on there, they put extremely high weight on on construction and
Hmm.
burn. Now, the regular consumer, do you really care if you don't have a laser sharp burn? If it's a little wavy, do you care? No, the consumer
Right.
doesn't care. If the wrapper cracks and it burns right through it, do you care? No, you don't care at all.
Right.
It's not affecting the overall experience of the
Right.
cigar. So I weighted it differently because for me, unless the wrapper falls apart on me or it's plugged
Right.
or on it or it canoes or tunnels on me,
Right.
well, okay. But then that's where it comes in the enjoyability factor.
Right.
Did I enjoy the cigar? Okay, the wrapper cracked, it burned through it. It didn't change my enjoyability on the cigar. I still enjoyed the cigar. It didn't change it. Okay, it was a bit wavy of a burn. Don't care. It didn't change my enjoyability. So I put a higher weight on the enjoyability factor
Right.
instead of burn, and construction. Because if
Right.
you have a bad cigar that canoes or tunnels or the wrapper falls apart on it, well, that's going to lower your enjoyability factor on the cigar. So,
For sure. For
so,
sure.
so either way, it's still going to affect the rating, but it's there. And a cigar that's not in my flavor profile, okay, so on the 15-point scale of a flavor profile, that may wind up getting a 10 instead, or an 8 or a 10. But I enjoyed the cigar. It was good. The enjoyability may have gotten a 19, 18 or 19 out of 20
Right.
on that. So as you start building up on that, so that's how I'm able to smoke cigars that aren't necessarily for me or in my flavor profile, is
Right.
that I'm able to adjust that weighting. So yeah,
Right.
flavor profile scores lower, but it makes those points back up on the enjoyability factor.
Right. And then we were talking about that, what was it called? Speed chop. And that lacked in the flavor for me. Construction was good, burn was good, flavor was okay, but it just lacked a little bit for me. It just didn't have any special taste to it, me. So
Yeah, and when you get a cigar that you constantly have to relight, and it's not because you're putting it down, or you're like me now who has to relight because I'm talking too much.
me too. I just need a touch up.
Yeah, when you get to that, it doesn't just that's why I don't like their scales, because it just it's weighted on perfection. And
There is no perfection.
with a hand rolled product,
Right.
handmade product, there's no such thing as perfection.
No.
You just have to realize that a wavy burn doesn't affect my enjoyability on it.
Right.
A wrapper that cracks that it burns through doesn't change my enjoyability. A wrapper that cracks and it falls apart, now that changes my enjoyability.
Right. Right. I've smoked Arturo Fuente Opus X, and it didn't burn perfectly either. At a $30-something cigar or whatever it was, you're almost expecting that, but that's not a realistic thing. It's a hand rolled product, the same way that any other cigar companies are.
Yeah, you just have to. You really just have to. I I thought I was going to sneeze here.
Okay.
I was.
Bless you.
There it is.
Bless you.
Yeah. So I just wanted to. I just felt like I needed to come up with a rating system that was for just the regular consumer out there. That way, you can have a cigar that you don't necessarily enjoy the flavor, but it's still rated, and it shouldn't affect, and overall have very little effect on the cigar as a whole. Whereas, if I rated a cigar and you saw it and go, why did it rate that? I could tell you, it just wasn't in there was no problem with it. It was just, it wasn't in my flavor profile. So that's why it kind of scored down there. Mm-hmm. But if it was in my flavor profile, you could see where it would go to. Nothing against the cigar. It's a good cigar. I would recommend people to smoke it. It's just not for me.
Right. And I have a lot of cigars that way too. And, I smoke everything. And to me, it's loving a variety, number one. Number two is to see what other people are doing. What are they creating? You know what I mean? That's what it goes back to, the fun of the business of learning, always learning what's new, what's being done. I think there's a lot of, you were talking about limited release and everything like that. And it's kind of like we always have to be keeping the attention of the consumer, or we like to refer to them as guests of Grouchy Monkey, but not consumer. But yeah, that's going to always be a challenge, is to keep everyone, interested, keep them involved, and, just keep producing great cigars.
Cigar pop. That's just not like, that's everybody's pet peeve. I hate when they over glue the band or glue the band onto the wrapper on that. I love these new bands that the kind of the sticky bands where it has no glue. I love it. It's fantastic. And some of these guys, I think they're using industrial strength glue that you would put a house together with. It's like impossible. You can't get the wrapper off.
And I'll give you the little insight to that. So first of all, attaching glue on the wrapper is totally unacceptable. That's not something you could give your guests by any means. But I will tell you that depending on a lot of times like bands, my shipwreck, I had to use a different glue, a little more strong than I would like than the jungle lands. For some reason, my regular cigar glue with the jungle lands, they hold well. You can just put it just a tad on the edge and it holds. But for some reason with our shipwrecks, I had to use a little bit stronger glue, and they don't tear. They better not be tearing the wrapper apart. But sometimes they could be a little harder to get off than the jungle lands, which you can just peel it and actually keep the bands. Because listen, there's a lot of passion in the bands. I get it. One of my favorite things is designing bands, so I take a lot of pride in the bands.
Yeah, and for a lot of us out here, we collect bands,
right?
Out there, and I like to have that, and it's out there. Like I saw Michael Herklox at PCA, and he stopped me to ask me about the rating on one of the cigars I gave him. And I told him that was why. I said, you lost mega points on enjoyability factor because the band was glued onto the wrapper, and
really
it tore. And I showed him the pictures of it, and he was very upset that I had that type of experience. Somebody who's a perfectionist like he is,
right.
And I've known Herklox for almost 25 years. I knew him when he was at Dunhill.
So
when I worked for Reynolds Tobacco, out of their Santa Fe Natural Tobacco in the premium tobacco line.
Wow. So
that's when I met him.
Yeah, I went in an FBO where all these private jets come and all the very wealthy people are getting on their jets and pulling up in their Rolls Royces and stuff. And it's one FBO where I go has a little humidor there with cigars. And I got a couple of cigars, and they're actually good cigars, but I can't believe someone would manufacture a cigar and the glue goes all the way onto the wrapper. Like the whole wrapper, the whole band was literally glued. The minute you pull it off, it peels away the wrapper. And I'm like, how could someone be producing a cigar in this time and age with gluing the thing all the way down on the wrapper? It made like no sense to me. So,
yeah, I don't get it at all. Look, go get one of the kids' glue sticks at Walmart. They work just fine.
It's actually a fruit glue that they use that doesn't have any toxins, anything like that.
Hey, the purple kids glue doesn't either, because kids are gonna eat it.
Yeah, good point.
That's what all those bands are stuck to on the corkboard is that kids' purple glue stick.
And I noticed none of them are destroyed either. You know what I mean? They're not like ripped apart. So
no, because I don't put up the ones that got destroyed when I was putting them up. If it doesn't look good
right
on there, then I just I don't. It gets tossed in the box with all the duplicate bands that I have that I send off to an artist who makes cigar band art.
I met one too. She does great work. Bought one for my office, and it's terrific. Yeah. I was told by Sean Turner early on, who's my lead ambassador for the Grouchy Monkey Company, and early on he told me that too. He's like, these bands are sticking a little more, and I took it to heart, and I said, okay, how do I fix that the bands are not sticking too much? So yeah, you have to take criticism.
It's such a minor thing, but it's of big importance to the consumer.
Well, that makes it no longer a minor thing.
Yeah, that's right. Because it gets overlooked, which is why Herklox had, when I showed him the pictures on that, he was upset because he's like, that's unacceptable. That should never happen with one of my cigars. And I know how meticulous he is on that, when because I tell people when Reynolds bought, for those of you guys that have smoked for a long time, you remember that Dunhill and Benson and Hedges and a couple of other those high-end premium cigarette lines also manufactured premium hand-rolled cigars. And Herklocks was a young upstart who was in charge of that section for Dunhill on that for the cigar line. And I remember the first meeting I was in, and I go, in 10 years, that guy's going to be running a tobacco company. He just is smarter than everybody else, and he just knows more than everybody else. And then when Reynolds sold, when Reynolds was getting out of the cigar side of things, and they sold that section off to Davidoff, he went with them to Davidoff. And now look, he's practically running Davidoff. So Davidoff US.
But
because Davidoff was trying to buy, Davidoff was in their buying phase then, and they were picking up everything. They bought Camacho and a couple other brands as well.
Right. But what you touched on is exactly why we had a discussion before, that I'm not interested in being in lounges right now. And that's completely against the grain of what a boutique cigar company starts off and doing, because I don't want to become that big that I don't have my hand in on everything. Right now, we're able to take great care of our guests. And if I scale and become a huge company, I'm going to lose that. How does he not know? I would be the first one to know if the band's not sticking right. You know what I mean? It's okay to be small. It's what our goals are. I kind of laugh about it because what I'm doing is what that would cost me to wholesale and be in all these lounges. I'm turning around and I'm taking that investment and I'm giving it to my guests, the customers and guests of Grouchy Monkey Cigars. And I give extra cigars and, challenge coins and all kinds of goodies. I got new boxes made for shipping. And, these are expenses I believe in. Investment, not expenses, as my mentor tells me. I want people to be wowed.
I love your packaging.
Okay, great. That. Well, you haven't even seen, I've scaled it up and invested in nicer boxes for shipping. And I always throw in an extra cigar. I'm making a new box for that extra cigar as a gift from Grouchy Monkey, and stickers and things that when you open it up, it's like the best Cracker Jack box you ever got, where you get the treat inside, but this is even better. I can put an extra cigar or two in. I could give them swag. I can give them cool things, So small is not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. And I don't think that you're wrong in your thinking that you limit where your cigars are at. That you can, we're fine. We're direct to consumer, and then in like I got introduced to you through Black Box.
Mm-hmm.
So, limiting where you're at, it gives you far more control in your ability to provide, that overall customer care and customer service that a lot of brands lack. Because look, if you start getting into shops, well, great. Now you can't be in every shop to go in there and check. You can't work the humidor in all those shops.
Nope.
And you're not at the point where you can hire a nationwide sales team to go work those humidors as well.
See, that's what I mean. I want to take that money that I would invest in that, and I want to give it right back to our guests by giving them extra cigars, by giving them the best that I could possibly give them. And that's, and not only that, but Daniel, I get to communicate one-on-one with my guests all the time. And that I enjoy that. I really do. Our people, someone has an issue, whatever, this cigar cracked, whatever, they deal with me and they get another cigar, no questions asked. And we do better, is
are you
promise and over deliver.
Are you surprised that over the last really three and a half months, how your brand has exploded?
I'd like to be humble and say I am surprised, but I'm not, because I knew from the beginning that we had something very special. Once I started getting some of those reviews and people spoke about their experience with the cigars, that was when I knew for sure. And again, I worked very hard at this. This is a 24/7 job, 7 days a week. So surprised pleasantly, yes, but I know we're going to be very successful, and the success is going to continue because I'm very dedicated to being one-on-one with every single guest of Grouchy Monkey, and keep making great cigars. That's the most important thing. So
I think you make fantastic cigars. Yeah,
well,
and
thank
Tim
you.
hits what you just said on there. He feels he gets some of the best customer service from you.
Well, and listen, I don't want Tim talking to one of 7 people going through trying to resolve a problem. Tim could pick up the cell phone, call me, and talk to me in person. And I like that. This is what I want to do with this company. I want to stay true to myself, and I want to stay true to the guests,
So, follow up to my question. You're not surprised by how you've exploded. So, does that mean the goals that you had set coming into the year, do you feel that you're going to exceed those goals that you had put forth?
Yeah, definitely. I would say exceed the goals that I set forth. I always look at this as like, I'm not trying to make money tomorrow or the next day. I'm doing this for 5 years from now and on. So I want to build something where I retire from aviation and I'm just full-time running a cigar business. And it's probably going to pull me out of the aviation industry probably sooner. And that's fine because this is where my passion is now. Used to be when I was younger, everything was about being at the airport and airplanes. And I still love aviation, but the tobacco industry to me is the most interesting thing that, and this is where the passion lies. So
Sure. I completely respect that, Trust me, if I could leave Coke and work within the industry and make what I make now, I would put my 2 weeks in tomorrow.
You and me both, and I'm not there yet, but I'm working hard to achieve that goal. This is what I want to do. This is a blast. I mean, you get this one-on-one with people is what it's all about, because it's the same principle of going to a lounge, right? And you go and you hang out with a bunch of guys and gals. You smoke cigars. Everybody has a good time. They get along. You have amazing conversations. And there's the principle behind it all, the camaraderie.
Yeah, it's there, and
Mhm.
I love it. Like, I love what I do. I love being in the media space. I love sitting down and talking and with manufacturers like you, sharing your story, introducing people who've never heard of you to you,
Mhm.
to them. I love doing it. It's one of my great joys that I have. I put in 60 plus hours a week at Coke, grinding away as a technician. I do almost 40 hours a week in content. It's 2 full-time
Mhm.
jobs right there.
Right.
And I got a 3-year-old. So that right there, that's three full-time jobs.
3 jobs. That's
And
3.5.
and like I'm watching, I'm sitting on the couch with her editing video while watching her, so I'm trying to multitask and then get everything taken care of and loaded up, and while also trying to be the parental unit.
Right. And why I do this, another answer is what you just said. Why be like 80 to 90% of people out there that just accept what their life has given them and not do something where lies their passion? Go for it. If that's what you love, then that's what you should be doing. Everything else, the success and all that comes later, but you make a decision to do what you want to do, not what like everybody else. I worked, 30 years at this job and I retired and now I play golf, and that may be for some people, but I just want it different. I'm like you. I need constant stimulation for this crazy brain of mine.
Yeah, I just I know where I stand on that, and just I would love to, and I would love to break in some way where I could make what I'm making now and just continue, and not, because I know it would be constantly being busy, constantly on the go. So I wouldn't hit that boredom area where it's just like here, but I'm also a realist and realize that, you know, I can't just up and leave a job I've been at for almost 20 years,
No, I
and
get it. I can't either.
lose all those and lose the benefits that I
Benefits,
have.
right.
And what, I'm a realist on that. So, but if an opportunity did come up,
Right.
I wouldn't, I would entertain it.
But you're already laying the pavement for it, right? So you're taking action and you're doing it. And that's what I had to do. I can't want to do something and wish I had done something. And that's what you're doing, the same thing. You're doing the same thing I'm doing. You're laying the pavement down ahead of you. And that's where people fail, I think. The graveyard is filled with people with great ideas, they say.
Yeah, of course.
Don't be one of those people.
What up, Manny? Good to see you. Yeah, like I got into it. I was really the only person when I started on it that was giving and showcasing and putting together a platform for the small brands out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed at PCA seeing the copycats out there.
Mm-hmm.
It made me happy out there because it's like I went into the one guy's booth. And he and he's like, oh, some guy said he's the guy that does this, and I said, no, I was the first. He's just a copycat, but I appreciate it.
So you led the way. You set the road. You set the road ahead of you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine. I'll take it.
No, listen, this is huge what you're doing because, I mean, when you start a small brand like this, you're putting all your investment into it. You're putting all your time, and it's hard. You're going up against big, powerful companies, and I wouldn't say directly competing with them, but in a sense, you actually do. You've got the Fuentes and the Padrones and the Perdomos and these big companies that are very, very powerful. One of my challenges in when I started this business was how do I remain authentic? And I think I've done a good job with that and remaining authentic. Like I said, I'm not a master blender. I let the professionals do their job. In what we talked about and coming and what are you looking for and let them put it together for you and then hone in on what you're looking for. I put the blender, I put Miguel's Pinto's name on my cigars and MGE factory where they're made. And this way I'm able to remain authentic. I don't come from a cigar family. I don't come from, we don't have our own farms and fields, but we can do what we do and do it well.
Yeah. Chris, there are a million other jobs out there, but you can't always say screw the corporate mindset, especially when you're employed by one of the top 5 largest corporations in the world.
And you don't walk away from retirement,
and walking away from that, the retirement and the benefits and all that, and if I was younger, and probably be a different story. If I hadn't already put in close to 20 years, it would be a different story.
No, you put your time in and then you retire and you do whatever the hell you want because of making that sacrifice and doing that to be able to provide you the means to do this. And I do too. Listen, it's why I'm still here. You know what I mean? I have a career in aviation and honestly, that's funded it. I don't have any investors. That's come from my pocket, but it wouldn't be able to do it most likely without that income.
Yeah. If Coke didn't change its retirement and pension policy back in 2016, I could retire at 25 years.
Wow, it's
You know,
beyond that. It's 30 years now, or
no, they're not even. They canceled our canceled our pension and moved us all over to a 401k. And
oh
so they
yeah,
cashed
yeah.
me out and I rolled it over into that. So, at this point now, instead of being 25 years, probably going to have to put in that good old 40 years.
Oh. Don't feel bad. Aviation has no love either. You know, they love you. They love you until they don't want to pay for the private jet anymore or whatever. You know what I mean? There's no love in the business. And again, that's part of why I'm so happy I found something I love, and eventually I'll be able to live my life on my terms, not working for somebody else. It's unfortunate, but it's a reality. You know, there's
Yeah,
no love. Nobody has your back but your family and the people close to you. That's the end of the day, the fact.
yeah, that's right. So I am I'm going to you know I'm gonna keep going. I don't know how long I can continue to be out in the field and working as a technician out in the field. But I'll do it as long as until my body holds up.
Hmm.
You know,
I feel you.
as long as it holds up, I'll continue to be out there. You know, I have kind of gotten the, you know, I have taken a couple of promotions over the last couple of years that has lessened the amount of time I'm out in the field and has kind of been beneficial, so I can probably sustain the field work a bit longer
Right,
than if I was just not in the position I'm at now. So
right. I get it. I don't love being on the road anymore. You know, that's part of my job. It's all glamorous and you go beautiful places and you stay in a Marriott and all your food's paid for and everything. And that sounds so glamorous until you want to be at home. You know what I mean? There's no place like home. I'm kicking my heels like Dorothy. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
Chris, um, it, I could I could do the same thing too, but the problem with for me is losing all that overtime. You know, yeah, that would be for me. But I mean, and I never take vacations anyway. So my vacations just keep piling. You just keep the number just keeps piling up, and I just now it's like okay, so I got 4 weeks of vacation, but I only took 4 days the whole year.
I don't even do vacations because that means going away somewhere, and that's all I ever do. So, I get vacation time. I like to be home.
I do tend to take sick time over the vacation time. So, you know, even though I'm not sick, I still take that I'll take the time off as sick leave since they have now capped the amount of sick leave you can accrue. So now I'm like, okay, fine, I'll just take sick leave. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So, how is cigar still smoking good for you?
It's fantastic. I'm just talking too much, and it keeps going. It keeps going out.
Yeah.
It's not the cigar. It's not the cigar's fault. That's
Okay.
my fault.
Yeah, mine too. I'm starting to get that little bit of dizzy. Like I said, this to me, you get mixed opinions from different people. Some people find it to be a solid medium, like the shipwreck. To me, it's a medium to full. You know, it's to me, I find it strong. So,
It is, and I like it, and that's why I'm completely vibing with it. Is because it's like I said, it's in that medium plus to medium full range, and I like it.
yeah.
I enjoy that pepper balm
Hmm.
of especially off the start of the cigar and how it's tamed out, but the flavors haven't muted out. Just the amount of pepper has muted itself.
Yeah. I find it a good cigar for the morning. To me, that's almost my favorite cigar of the day is the cup of coffee. I go out on my balcony or wherever I am and I light up a cigar, have my coffee. I do a little praying, a little reading, and start the day off that way. And the Connecticut's a good morning cigar with the coffee. It pairs very well with the coffee.
I could see that. Yeah, it's a very good cigar. out there, and and you got a great factory that also is as uh, manufacturing for you. So right off the bat, that I don't think I've had anything bad that's come out of them yet.
Yeah, and his other brands are equally just fantastic cigars. El Mago speaks for itself, and Nick is amazing, and he's a really young guy and super successful.
I love Nick.
Yeah.
I had Nick on before he kind of blew up.
Well, that's
I was
me.
happy about
Here
that.
I am. Here I am.
Oh,
Right.
you've kind of already blown up. If I wasn't already kind of booked up when we started talking there, I could have had you on before you really blew up, and then I would,
Okay.
I'll take credit on that one. He
Okay.
blew up after he was on my show, but
Well, we have
you're
talked.
already there. You're already there.
We have talked before. We have had some conversations, and but I don't. It doesn't go to my head. I'm a regular guy, just like everybody else. Even the same thing being a captain on a jet. It doesn't matter. It's the guy cleaning the bathroom has the same life and issues and worries and fears and things in their life. So I tend to treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
So any interesting comments there?
Everybody's telling me to take a vacation. It's essential, and
Well, you may need to listen. When everybody, what's the saying? If everyone around you tells you you're standing in shit, you're probably standing in shit.
yeah,
So,
yes, that is true. But again, mine becomes the boredom factor. That's where I run into. That's why I can't go on a vacation. I constantly got to be doing something. It's
right.
like going to PCA. It's just busy nonstop.
Yeah.
You're going from 7 o'clock in the morning until sometimes 2, 3, 4 o'clock
Yeah.
in the morning. It's just you're going, and I'm good with that. And
Yeah. Well, that becomes a little bit of work. I want this always to remain fun. And that's a very important factor for me, is that this always is enjoyable. And I think I heard a interview with Pete Johnson from Tatuaje, and he was saying he misses the part of where it was the artistic development and the fun of blending, that it's become, such a big business that it's like going to work, like a 9 to 5 job.
yeah, and he I remember when Tatuaje was a tiny brand. I remember hearing about his stuff when he was making the house blends for a shop in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I remember hearing about him back in the early 2000s.
Humble
There's
beginning.
this shop in Miami. The house blends are phenomenal. And I'm like, oh man, I want to get it. And then he came out, and then he kind of put out his first mainstream cigar. He married into one of the cigar royalty families.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, they're great people too. I once had the privilege of flying them down to Nicaragua, and when we were doing charter years ago, and I got to tell you, man, just wonderful people. Absolutely wonderful. And I have a box of Lee Bougets handed to me by Don Pepin in my humidor upstairs here in my house. So just
I
lovely people.
and now when I was at Reynolds in QAQC, and I'm my first time going down to Nicaragua, and I went to the My Father factory before it was My Father Cigars, before when there was just Tabacalera Garcia
Uh-huh.
out there. And I remember I was like not quite fanboying out, but I was also not quite, being probably the professional I should have been when I was in there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
for me, and that was such an experience going in there, and it's like, oh my god, I get to meet the guy.
Yeah, it was actually remarkable to meet him. I've flown Padron and his people a few times too. And he's an amazing guy. And you think about the father almost started in a sense like Pete did, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? With a small producing cigars for, certain people or whatever. And then look what he's built now. I mean, do they even advertise? Like,
Not
barely.
really. Padron is one of those that just sells itself. They have very little advertisement anywhere because most of like the big online retailer cigar pop man. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you, brother.
Oh, he's
Um,
old. He has to go to bed.
yeah. Um, most of the big retail shops and the big online retail shops always put Padron in their advertisement, so they don't ever
Mhm.
have to advertise.
Yeah,
It's
brilliant.
just like it's always in anything that they put out. So it's kind of they get almost free advertising on everything because it's just like they don't really need to do much, and you don't see Fuente advertise a whole lot either, too, because again, it's always in the advertisements for the big shops and for the big
Right.
online stores. It's free.
But think about the brilliance of this, really, and what's so remarkable that you could go in Wyoming and go in and grab a Padron, right? Or you can go in Miami and you could grab an anniversary Padron, and it could be 4 years ago or it could be now, and that consistency is there. How they do that with hand farming, hand curing, you know, the whole process. This is the most interesting business you could ever, be involved with. The amount of work that goes into the production of one cigar, really, even though they're doing it on a massive scale, is just remarkable.
But to keep the consistency on that massive scale is what's so
Incredible.
impressive. You know,
Incredible.
you know, I can smoke a Padron 2000 natural now, and my memory and my mouth and everything still tastes like it did 25 years ago.
Incredible. And not only that, I found it to be better than a lot of the 18, $22, $23 cigars, the 1000 series
Now,
Padrones, for
yeah,
instance,
it's just so good, and
Yeah.
for $9, I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of the best cigars you'll smoke for under $10. And I tell
Unless you're in
people that all the time.
California.
Yeah,
Unless you're in
well, we don't
California
count
or somewhere
we
like that.
we don't count those states. We don't
The
count those states.
cigar unfriendly states, you mean?
Yeah,
It's
we don't
incredible.
count those.
Colorado, craziness. But yeah, that's remarkable. And anyone, look, it's something we could strive towards. And that's why I go back to staying small, because I want to keep producing great cigars. I don't want to just sell sticks. You know what I mean? That's not what it's all about.
So you're not planning on being the next Jose Padron.
No. And those are tall order to fill anyways to begin with. But, just have people loving your cigars, right? And wanting to buy more and looking forward to what you're coming out with next, and be able to continue this process. That's where the joy lies. It's got to be fun. If it's not fun, then maybe got to reevaluate what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
this cigar is fantastic. Great Connecticut. Great Connecticut. If y'all are looking for a punchy, fuller bodied Connecticut, definitely check out Grouchy Monkey cigars, man. This is phenomenal. It's so good.
yeah, so in my mind, I have like the next four cigars already planned out, and like want to do a thinner ring gauge, something like a long Corona or double Corona or whatever. We got the Cocoa Mono cigar first with the flavor and then real cocoa. And it's just fun. This is the fun of going, blending, and coming up with some new cigars. And, you know, have all the faith in the world in Miguel and the quality of tobacco and the way he operates. And, he goes down to Nicaragua all the time in his factory there. And he lives here in Miami. And from what I understand, he goes like with a pickup truck and goes to different regions in Nicaragua and brings back tobacco with him to his factory, and just does remarkable. I can't speak highly enough about a person, and I'm very fortunate. And believe me when I tell you, it took a lot of diligence, time and diligence to find Miguel to make it, because I met with multitude of different, factories. And like I said, anyone be willing to make a cigar for you, but do you know what you're going to get? Are you going to get what you
Yeah,
blended? And
exactly.
so
Exactly.
integrity. I think it's all about his integrity. And, when I tell him all these and our success, I know he sees it, but he's very humble. He doesn't, he's not a lot for words about praise,
Yeah.
He's just that kind of person.
Man, this was a great show. Thank you so much, Hyman, for coming on, sharing your story.
Pleasure.
I got links to everything Grouchy Monkey down in the description. So if you want to connect on social media, you can. Websites there, you can. Let's see, Wolfpack and Black Box still sell your product, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can
And I'll
go
stay
over.
with them. Yeah.
Yep, Wolfpack. You can head over to Wolfpack Cigar Club and pick up the sticks, or at Black Box, and of course you can use that promo code 505 review and pick them up over there and save some coinage on your order.
Okay.
Brand I highly, highly, highly recommend, and I'm big on. So thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yep. And anyone ordering online with me, I have some great factory blends that I'm sending out to people to try. So we look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Oh, you're welcome. Go to Black Box and hammer in that promo code, because I love when Dantley texts me that he gets way too many orders with my promo code in it.
Nice.
That you guys, he's like, come on, man. Too many people are buying. I'm losing money on this. I'm like, well, then you shouldn't sell bangers, because I'm going to tell people to go buy them.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Make him reorder. By the end of the week, I want Dantley calling Hyman going, I need to place a reorder.
I like it. And another guy you can't speak highly enough of. People, you just can't meet a better guy. It's just
Dantley's
such great people.
I love Dantley. He's such a fantastic dude. He texts me when he's bringing in brands, and he's like, what do you think of this brand? And I tell him, and he's like, what's your favorite cigars from them? And I tell him, he goes, well, that's only reserved for like long-term customers. I go, I guess you better be a long-term customer so you can get them in, because
well, you want everyone to be long-term customers, right? So
yeah, so love it,
Daniel. Thank you so much. I'm very honored to have been here tonight.
I'm honored to have you on, man. So thank you so much. And next week, I gotta find out. There may be a show next week. There may not. It all depends on whether the stuff for the guest has come in from Nicaragua or not. If it has, then we will have a show. If it has not come in, then we may have to reschedule with that guest. So I'm not going to promote who it is yet, because I don't want to promote and then have to try and piece together a show last second.
And by the way, I'm going to send you some cigars tomorrow, but you definitely got to get a hat in that box.
Okay. Yeah, man. I love
the swag.
Hat. I love it. I wear them all over. And it'll just randomly show up in a photo somewhere, or I'll be at an event and I'm wearing the hat, and then people will take pictures with me and then post the pictures. I'm not even smoking a cigar. They just notice me, and it's like, oh, I'm just out on the street walking, and it's like, look at who I ran into, and there's your hat, or there's your hat, or there's me in your hat and hoodie and whatever.
Nice.
Maybe I love wearing it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much again. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in as well. So grateful.
So thank you, everybody. And we may or may not see you next week, but whatever we do, take care, be safe out there, and don't do anything Hyman and I wouldn't do, because we are sweet and innocent boys, and we will